Good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians on the land on which we're gathered and to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to the City Lifestyle meeting of the 21st of October 2020, and I declare the meeting open at 9 a.m. I'd like to advise our meeting attendees that this meeting will be audio recorded, and I note that Councillors Raven and Jeremiah have submitted a leave of absence request due to their attendance at the LGAQ conference. With no other leaves of absence to declare, I would move that Councillors Raven and Jeremiah be granted leave of absence in accordance with section 5.3C3 of the Local Government and Committee Meeting Code. Can I have a seconder for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Murphy. All those in favour, please raise your hand. And that is unanimously supported. Thank you. Councillors, I now refer to item 4.1 in your agendas. Can the Libraries and Creative Industries Manager, Ms Annette Turner, please enter the discussions? And Annette will be joined today by Leo Clayton, who's our Library Client Service Manager Program Leader. Before we open for discussions on this item, do any councillors have any conflicts of interest that they wish to declare? There being none, I now refer to the Libraries and Creative Industries Manager to open public discussion. Annette, you may proceed.
Good morning, councillors, and thank you very much, Councillor Karansky. It's our pleasure to join you today to present an update on Logan City Council Libraries Learning and Discovery Strategy 2019 to 2023. As Councillor Karansky mentioned, I am joined today by Leo Clayton. He's our Library Client Services Program Leader and has a leadership role of the library customer service delivery. So this strategy was developed with key community needs, aspirations and objectives in mind, and it was designed in line with Council's vision and corporate plan. It was developed last year and approved by committee in June 2019. It sets out a roadmap for Logan City Council Libraries programming and community engagement over several years. The strategy enables Logan City Council Libraries to support its contribution to the livability and social wellbeing of the City of Logan by creating community learning and connections that encourage engagement and experience. Today we're just going to provide a brief summary of some of the key outcomes that have been delivered so far, and also an update on library service delivery during the COVID pandemic, because I understand there's a bit of interest in how we've been going. Clicker. Where do I put it? Is someone able to turn the slides? Don't you love technology?
Just while we're organising the technology, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank Annette, and Annette, please pass on our thanks to your team for the incredible work you have been doing through COVID. The libraries have actually been an absolute bastion for our community, and the support you've done and outreach you've done to community for those who couldn't make it to the libraries has also been greatly appreciated. So please pass on our thanks.
Thank you. I certainly will pass it on to the team. They'll appreciate that. So here's our a bit of statistics of how we've been tracking over the last 12 months. We've had almost 1.4 million visitors still able to come in and visit Logan City Council libraries over the last financial year, which is really tremendous support and wonderful to see the community are so engaged with our service delivery. During that time, over 1.7 million items were loaned to residents, and nearly 7,500 programs were delivered to the community. You can see some other stats there through the reference inquiries. So you may not necessarily have that experience, but a lot of residents in the city still come to the libraries to ask all sorts of questions, and we are able to help those from very complex reference inquiries right through to, where can we find this council service? So we do provide that support. The visits to the library website are very high, as you can see there, 822,000, and also community meeting room use pre-COVID was extremely high, and that's a great service that community have been able to access. We also have high usage of the internet, so remembering that not every resident in the city has computers at home, and we're their only point that they're actually able to come in, apply for rental properties, apply for jobs, and our staff are there to help them through that. And also the free Wi-Fi network is very popular. As I said, we wanted to share a little bit about what's been happening during COVID. So it's obviously had an unprecedented impact on the library service. So under the state government health restrictions, libraries are one of the most heavily regulated service that council offers. So the staff have been doing a tremendous effort to navigate their way through that. We still have, very strong restrictions on how many people can come in each site with the 4 square metre rule, cleaning, safety, contact tracing in and out, and the services that we can and can't provide. So libraries did temporarily close to the public from the 23rd of March to the 18th of May. During this temporary closure, we were able to draw on the strength of the library resources, but more importantly, the expertise of our wonderful team. So during that, the team developed a whole suite of services that residents could safely access online, from home, and also over the phone. As a result of the library's quick pivot to an enhanced online experience, we have improved our digital collections, our online learning resources for adults and children. We've created virtual access to a lot of our library programming digitally. We also have had some really exciting advancements that the library team developed, and Leo will touch on those a bit, but one really important one was when children were learning at home during the school shutdown, our staff were on hand. So they were online, they were on the phone, they were providing the support to parents and students to help them navigate their ways through home learning. During that time, that initial time, we actually had a 335% increase in library memberships, online memberships, and unprecedented 700 digital titles were borrowed every single day. So that's really incredible to see that the community understood that our doors were closed, but we had a really important service to deliver, and they wanted us to continue to support them. And we did that with doors closed, and now, of course, with doors open. I'm going to hand over to Leo, who's going to talk a little bit through the strategy and some of the outcomes, and then we'll come back at the end to talk a little bit about where to from here during COVID recovery. Thanks.
Thanks, Annette, and good morning. Thanks for having me. So as Annette was saying, I'm just going to go through some of the highlights that we experienced during the last financial year, just to give you a taste of what we've delivered as part of the strategy. So the strategy does inform the deliverables for our library programming as part of our business plan for the branch. The strategy's 6 strategic outcomes provide the framework to allow our library staff to be guided in the development, the implementation and the evaluation of programming and our community engagement. This strategy has been developed because we understand that the needs of our community are changing, and libraries want to ensure that we're well positioned to respond to those evolving needs. And as we've all seen this year, those needs have evolved really rapidly. So on the screen, you'll see our 6 core strategic outcomes, which is access and inclusion, economic opportunity, nurturing learning and wellbeing, sustainability, connected community, and embracing lifelong curiosity and discovery. And within each of those outcomes are a number of key actions that we're working through the life of the strategy to deliver key activities to the community. Thanks. So the next couple of slides are just an opportunity to give you a taste of what we have delivered over the past financial year. So programming is a core aspect of what we deliver in each of our libraries and online and in the community, and the strategy has assisted us to deliver purposeful and sustained programming. So as you can see, over the last financial year, libraries delivered 7,417 programs to the community, with 89,231 people participating. So some of the highlights that we want to point out that have been really successful this year. One of our major ones was over the course of the year we delivered Our Words, Our Stories, which was part of the International Year of Indigenous Language, where we received a grant through the State Library to deliver a deadly digital community opportunity. So for that, working with the community, we developed a series of 10 language vodcasts, which are similar to podcasts, but they have images and interactive content, plus an ebook and an interactive video. So that was a great opportunity to work with our Indigenous community and deliver content that we have never done before, and they're available on our website for anyone to access at any time. The home library service has also been an important service. It always has been, always will be, but especially over the year we've had. So that's the provision of library services to residents who, through reasons including disability, illness and limited mobility, are unable to access their local library. So through that service during COVID, we ensured that all residents were connected by delivering bulk deliveries to those customers. So 422 residents across the city received a bulk delivery just before everyone went into lockdown, and over the course of COVID we have, in a COVID safe way, continued to deliver every couple of months to those residents. During that time, staff also do regular welfare checks because we've discovered that a lot of those people are living on their own, and at times we were one of the primary contacts for people to have during that time. We're also really proud of our digital home library service, which we've developed over the year, which is iPads that are delivered to people at home. They receive assistance learning how to use them, and that allows them to use e-books, e-audio books and access e-magazines. That's really great for anyone who might have hearing or visual impairment, because they can access a whole range of resources from that and enlarge the size. They can speak to them. So that's been a real success, and we're increasing the access to iPads this year. Our First Five Forever, which is our early years literacy development program, that continues to be a strong aspect of the strategy. And as you can see on the slide, we've had an engagement with over 47,000 people through that program. As a response to COVID, it was important that we continued that contact with the community, so that was the first series of virtual programming that libraries delivered, which we delivered 9 virtual story times for the library website, and we were viewed 2,801 times. So a real success really quickly by the team to put that on. Change the slide, thank you. Economic opportunity has also been a key priority for our libraries this year. Through our Hive co-working spaces, which are located at Logan Central and Logan West Library, we've used that to create opportunity for free access to business insiders and expert knowledge for people that might be starting out in business, running a small business or looking for employment opportunities. So over the last financial year, we delivered 81 business-focused events with 470 people participating in those. We also had 613 people make use of the co-working spaces at both of those libraries. It was also another key area for us to deliver virtual programming really quickly to the community, we delivered some taxation workshops as our first on-demand library programming, allowing people to not just have to tap in online at a certain time, that they could access it whenever they needed it. And finally, as an example of what we're doing in the lifelong curiosity and discovery outcome, which is an important one for us to demonstrate our support of the vision of Logan as an innovative and dynamic city of the future, that we aim to deliver experiences that promote lifelong curiosity and discovery through STEAM activities, cultural and creative activities for people of all ages, and social skills development for our young people. Over this period, when we realised that we weren't able to run our really popular STEAM activities, our robotics and our computing, coding, those types of activities in our libraries, staff really quickly pivoted to make those resources available to people from home. So we've got 270 robots that people can come into the library, take home, and they're supported with activities, guides on how to use it. So that has been well loved over this period, especially with parents helping children to do their home learning. learning. And we found when we were delivering the programming in libraries, coding and robotics is something that's not just for children. We've got lots of adults and older adults as well who are really fascinated. They're hearing from their children and grandchildren how these operate. So having these available for people to take home has been a lifelong learning experience for the whole family, and we're really quite proud of how that's worked. As Annette was saying, our home learning hub was an important aspect as well to provide that support to parents who were new to teaching their children at home. So that was an online resource that library staff got up and running within a week, and through that we were able to support 101 customers with over the phone, face-to-face assistance, so one-on-one rather assistance, and we also made 45 deliveries of library resources to families that didn't have computers or access to technology and were really worried about their children's learning. Thank you.
Thanks, Leo. Okay, so where to from here? Libraries will play a really important role in COVID recovery in the city of Logan. We understand this, and we have been prioritising all of our programming in this direction to make sure that our city comes out strong at the end of this. So the libraries will support programming that encourages information, inspiration and entertainment, supports our really vulnerable families and members of the community, promotes literacy in all forms, and supports digital inclusion through building skills and affordable connectivity with others. So to actually use some examples of this, sorry, no, go back. We can go back to the other. Yep. Great, thank you. So these are some of the things that we're focusing on, including those skill-based programs that support essential business skills development. So remembering not all of our small businesses are at the level where LOED is their first, or economic development is their first port of call, but they do come to the libraries for support. So we have put a lot of our support online, and we'll continue to support the co-working spaces where possible. Support for job seekers is a big focus. As is support for marketing, use of social media by our small businesses. We mentioned, Leo mentioned taxation before. People want to know how to navigate through their taxation during COVID. We've got lots of resources to help there. And also web design, where our small businesses are trying to reimagine how they provide their services too. We'll be further developing our suite of virtual programming, and staff are super excited about developing new skills in this area, and they're really rising to the challenge of how we can deliver this content virtually online. We'll be expanding our suite of STEAM resources and also our other swag packs. So we've got packs of storybooks and activities for families, packs for adults, and they're a really great resource. You can just come in, grab a bag of resources, and that'll get you through a certain period of time. We're also looking at our the way that we promote our services through a library awareness campaign, and we're providing greater promotion to non-users and also under-users too, so they can really understand that council delivers fabulous services through Logan City Council libraries, and they can really lean on us during this time. I'll just have the next slide. Thanks. Thank you. So we might leave it there, and through the chair, throw it open to any questions that councillors might have. Thanks, Councillor Kransky.
Thank you, Annette. I'm going to go to Councillor Lane.
So Annette and Leo, thank you so much for your presentation this morning. One thing when I noticed, I was fortunate to do a tour of the Logan Central Library, and I very much enjoyed it, and the people that were showing me around were very graceful and very welcoming. But I've been back a few times since. The library is vibrant, it is attractive, it is engaging, it encourages kids to play, it encourages adults to play with them. And then I was out door knocking, and I met a lady who actually had one of the robotic packs with her young child at home, and she said it is the best way of bribing her child into doing what needs to be done. And the best part is that she's not capable of dropping off and picking up, and the library has that service. I just think that you guys are amazing and you do a fantastic job. The community is very well served by you, and please keep working the way you are. It's fantastic.
Thank you for that encouragement, and we'll certainly pass it on to the staff as well, and they'll appreciate hearing that. Thank you, Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Councillor Lang. We'll go to Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. I'd like to echo Councillor Lane's words and that sort of thing. My mum had a stroke just over 10 years ago, and she lives in a retirement village at Baronia Heights, and she can't drive or anything like that, so I basically do everything for her. So it was so nice when we worked out that the library would drop off and pick up her books for her, and they basically know what type of books she wants. And they dropped off a massive amount of books to her when COVID hit, which was lovely. And that sort of thing, because Mum was like, oh, what am I going to do? But she got a huge amount of books for her, and she got through them all. She reads like one a day. It's amazing. And then over the holidays, I did pick up some packs for my kids and that sort of thing. And it does keep them quiet for a little bit in the holidays, which is nice. So they had the Dreamcatcher one, and they've got their clay still all over my dining table because there was some clay in there and stuff, and they were building little snowmen and stuff like that. So my kids and my mum very much appreciate it. And I know, like, I attend the Greenbank Library all the time, and I always see kids in there after school and that sort of thing. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other councillors who have any? Councillor Hall.
Yes, this is just a statement just in regards to libraries in general, actually. When I was growing up as a travelling kid, there wasn't too many places that I could go to educate myself, but what I did find while travelling was libraries were one, and there's usually a library in every town. So, you know, as a young person growing up, I found it a great escape to be able to go to the library and go in there and read and, you know, get some kind of an education that I was missing out on while I was travelling. Another thing I found is when I travelled all the way to Perth and I decided to finally leave the circus that I was at, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for me to kind of look for employment or to find where to go next in my career path. I didn't have a mobile phone. I didn't have a computer. I was basically in the cab of a truck. But I found that I could go to the local library and use the internet. It was actually at a library the first time that I ever used internet, and I think that's the case for many people. You know, we don't quite realise how valuable these community resources are until we actually need them. And these are great areas and great places that people can go when they don't have mobile phones, when they don't have access to the internet. So they're very, very important community infrastructure. And from my example, when I was in Perth, I didn't have a mobile phone, I didn't have a laptop, but I was able to go to a library, use a computer, look for a job on the internet over there. They allowed me to use a phone. Not only that I was able to sit down on a soft seat and have a little nap, which, you know, very, very hard to do if you're stuck in a cab of a truck, but you could go to a place like a library and they will allow you to do it. So I think all libraries are a fantastic service, and I commend your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Councillor Stamp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I guess that the programs I find at the Logan Library, Logan Home Library, are absolutely amazing. I've been voicing them for quite a while now and putting them up, you know, events and things that are happening. I guess one question is, there's a few community groups obviously that used to use the facilities downstairs, and they're obviously elsewhere at the moment. Is there an understanding of when they may be able to come back into the libraries, or is based on the current COVID plan?
Through the chair, thank you. That's a very good question. As I started at the beginning of the presentation, libraries are one of the most heavily restricted services in Queensland. We still have to comply by the 4 square metre rule, and there's no relaxing of that in sight. So perhaps, you know, we have to ask COVID when that could be. And we understand the pain point it is for community who regularly used to come and use our meeting rooms. At the moment, some of our meeting rooms are being tasked for other essential services as well. So if you look at Logan Central Library, we have a customer service point there where the customer experience team is based there because they need to have a home outside of the City Administration Centre to be able to deliver their services. So the rooms aren't going to waste. They're being used for other essential services, including quarantining of library items. So every single library item that comes in must be quarantined for 72 hours before it's touched or handled by community again. It's an international standard, and we're going to have to keep that up right to the end of COVID. So yes, we are assisting groups where we can, referring them to other community centres in the city where they might be able to use those facilities. But please, if you have any inquiries, send them our way and we'll do our best to help.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. That's great.
Thank you. Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Libraries are a wonderful place. I've been a councillor for a long time and I've never received a complaint about the libraries. So if local government was just all about libraries, it would be a beautiful world. But can I just say that people who do use library services are more likely to see positives in local government than those that don't. They actually feel that they get something out of it. We're a young city and we should be planning ahead. We should be looking at where to expand our libraries and provide bigger libraries or more libraries. So I'm just putting it to you, Annette and Katie, that you should have something in the planning for those young areas of expansion, that we need to be pushing your borough, because it's nothing but good news for local authorities to have more libraries and have the best libraries. It's always been a strength of this city to have good libraries. On the back of that, I was at the LGAQ conference yesterday and I saw Moreton had a program called Backstage Pass. Are you familiar with that, Annette? Have we got a similar program to that?
Through the chair, our programs have been tailored to the needs of the residents in Logan, but we can certainly liaise with our colleagues in Moreton to find out what their motivation was.
Yeah, it's more or less directed at kids with autism and the fact that they don't participate in the normal programs that are available, and it just gives parents that opportunity to come down in that relaxed atmosphere with the kids, and they just feel at home, whereas they were sort of excluded. I know you've got exclusion in your program there, but this would be specific because it appears to be a growing need.
Yeah. Through the chair, we have 2 special sites in our libraries where families do come in with children with autism, which have special lighting, sensory equipment. So we've just reopened the space at Logan North Library, which is our accessibility centre, with brand new lighting equipment, programs, not only for children but also for adults.
The lighting was a big part.
It is,
apparently.
yes. Through the chair, it is a big part of the programming. We also have a sensory space at Marsden Library, and similarly, we have run a lot of programs in the past for families, but at the moment they can come in and use those spaces independently of us and the programs that we used to deliver, and families have found them incredibly grateful. And the spaces have a very calming effect on children, and also foster their learning with their individual learning needs. But we'll also look into what our colleagues at Moreton do to extend on that. Thank you.
No further questions? Annette, Leo, thank you both for not only what was a really comprehensive report, but also for providing insight into how our libraries have evolved under COVID and continue to serve our communities. But not only that, on how you're moving forward and adjusting to the new norm. We've got much to be proud of at Logan City Council with our libraries team. And even though I've been here a while, I'm still learning new things that I didn't know about libraries, like how about taking home a robot or taking home some iPads. I didn't even know that service existed. That's quite wonderful. And I just had to say, I wrote a couple of notes here, 7,417 programs, 89,000 participants over the past year, and an increase in membership of 335%. Wow, just wow. Well done, everyone. Please pass on our thanks. Councillors, we have a motion ahead of you. Is it on the board up there? Can I have someone to move the motion that the report be endorsed? Thank you, Councillor Russell. A second to Councillor Hall. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That is unanimously carried. Thank you so much, Annette. Thank you, Leo. Do we have any GB for the manager? Annette, do you have any GB for us?
No GB, thank you.
Thank you once again. Good to see you both. That marks the ends of our Libraries and Creative Industries report. We're now moving on to item 5.1. I'll now refer to item 5.1. Can the Sports, Leisure and Facilities Manager, Mr. Nigel Brown, please enter the discussions? But before we open for discussion on this item, do any councillors have any conflicts of interest they need to declare? There being one. Now, I note that item 5.1 is a confidential report, and councillors, under new legislation, we'll be managing going into confidentiality a little different to how we have in the past. So please bear with us as we're adjusting to our new system. As I said, this report is considered confidential due to the following reason: negotiations relating to a commercial matter involving the local government for which a public discussion would be likely to prejudice the interests of local government. Now, do any councillors wish to move into closed session for this item? Councillor Stemp. I now open the floor to councillors to submit an overview of what is to be discussed while the meeting is in closed session. Councillor Stemp, would you mind speaking to that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to discuss matters relating to negotiations and options which incorporate the commercial matter for the Logan Home Radio Control Society, including questions that clarify confidential information in the report to managers and which need to be addressed to enable us to make a decision.
Now, as part of this new process, we will just ask our meeting services team if they can put those words up on screen in front of us, and those councillors who wanted to move into confidential, if you could please cast your eyes over that. If you have additional reasons why you might like to move into confidential that aren't covered under there, now would be the time to raise your hand and voice those reasons. Has everyone had a chance to read the reasoning behind us? Councillor Wilcox?
I just wanted to further clarify.
Remembering this is a confidential report.
Drones and rockets and the space that was needed.
I believe we'll be able to discuss that under confidential. Anyone else have any comments that they wanted to add before we move in? Councillor Bradley?
You said that the words would be up on the screen. I can't see them.
Sorry, well, they'll be in front of you in just a moment. As I mentioned, we're all adjusting to the new legislation, so thank you for your patience. We'll have those in front of you in just a moment, and if you have any additional reasoning that you'd like to add, I'll need you to raise your hand and we'll add that to the minute note. As we move forward, councillors, this will actually become the new norm for when we're looking at moving into confidential discussions. So the process will be that if you have a reason that you'd like to move into confidential, that you'll actually need to provide that reasoning, and that reasoning will be recorded as part of our minute notes. And that's just to add to the commitment that we have to transparency, and so that our residents are aware why we're moving into confidential at any given time. Thank you, councillors. The motion is actually up on the board ahead of you. Did anybody have any additional comments they wanted to make with regard to the motion? Okay, Councillor Stamp has moved that the meeting be closed to the public at 9:33 a.m. under section 254J3G of the Local Government Regulation 2012 to discuss the confidential matters listed before you. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Could I see by a show of hands those who are supportive of the motion? Mr Mayor, do you support moving into confidential? Mr Mayor? Thank you, everyone. We'll now move into confidential. That motion has been carried unanimously. And we'll just give everyone a moment to vacate the gallery. Thanks, everyone. We're now back in open session. I note that we have a recommendation ahead of us as 5.1. Do I have anyone to move the recommendation? I'll just wait for that to be up ahead of you.
Where is it?
We have to, don't we have to My apologies, councillors. I'm still got my training wheels on too. My understanding is that is there an alternate motion that anyone would like to put forward at this time? Councillor Bradley.
Yeah, I'd like to put forward that the report be received at this time, and that it be deferred to a future committee for this committee, following negotiations or following discussions with affected parties.
All right, we'll just take a moment to allow the minute clerks to put the
Something
wording
to that
around
effect.
that. Just while we're waiting, did you have something you wanted to add there, Councillor Stamp?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my concern is I realise that we want to wait, but we also need to be conscious of giving Lux notice, I guess. So I guess in my mind it would have been the 10th of November was the date I had in mind for deferral, but whether or not we can get the clarity on the matters which the report, on the matters in the report which may impact the timeline of actions is the question.
I respect that there is some time sensitivity around that. I'm very happy to indulge modifying Councillor Bradley's original thoughts.
My preference is not to have a date, but hopefully it will be done by then.
Councillors, I'm in your hands. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Have we actually got it up in front of everybody now? No. I can't see them from here. That's the problem.
I can't even see.
I think the date needs to be put in there. I think we need a timeline.
Councillor Bradley, would you be so kind as to read the motion out for me? I'm just struggling to read it from here.
I actually did say that the report be received and that the matter be deferred to a future City Lifestyle Committee meeting until such time that negotiations with affected parties is finalised, and that at a discretion of the Sport, Leisure and Facilities Manager, Corporate Governance Manager, be requested to place a confidential report of the Sport, Leisure and Facilities Manager dated 21st of October 2020. Do you have to say that twice? And association attachments into the public records. Is that correct, the second one? Yeah, okay. But can you actually say at the start that it be received? There you go.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Just before we proceed, the Acting CEO would like to make comment. Silvio?
Yes, councillors, I'd be extremely concerned with the second part of recommendation 2. As you are well aware, negotiations with affected parties, in particular in regards to land and land purchases and the resumptions, could take years. We don't have the luxury, given the matters raised in the report in regards to that, so deferring the matter as is recommended there until such time that negotiations with the affected parties is finalised is an open-ended recommendation which could create significant issues for council.
I think we need to take that on board and modify accordingly. Mr Mayor, did you actually want to speak to what Silvio has just mentioned?
Yeah, I was going to consider that the matter be deferred to the next City Lifestyle Committee meeting so that all options can be explored.
You may not want to put all options in there. The number of options could be
It allows us that time frame to actually get out on site to explore the historical files and options, and also to allow the state elections to proceed, and then we start negotiating with the newly elected people, whoever they are.
Councillor Stamp.
Sorry, Madam Chair. This is the motion I'd come up with, just where that sits. That therefore requests that the report be deferred to the City Lifestyle Committee meeting dated the 10th of November 2020 in order to gain further clarity on some of the matters in the report which may impact the timeline of actions noted in the report.
Councillors, I'm in your hands. Councillor Bannon.
I'd like to go with Miriam's motion. I'm happy to move it.
Right, so here we are. We actually have a motion on the floor at the moment that is Councillor Bradley's motion. Councillor Bradley, do you want to withdraw that motion, or do you... That's all right. You just make a determination and I'll move forward.
I really don't care.
Just withdraw
I
it.
don't think it's going to be finalised.
Withdraw it then.
Okay, so you're going to withdraw that motion, and I'll allow the divisional councillor to...
Say I would withdraw. All I said was I don't think it's going to be finalised by the next
Actually,
round.
what I heard was you didn't care.
Yeah.
So,
Well-
Councillor Bradley, if you'd like to put it to the floor, I'm very happy to do that. I
yeah.
just need direction from you which way you'd like to move.
Yeah.
So you'd like to put the motion up?
I'm happy for it to be put up and then hopefully be recorded in the minutes. And if it doesn't get up, it will be recorded in the minutes.
Fantastic. Okay, so councillors, what we've got is we've got a motion put on the floor by Councillor Bradley at the moment. Councillor Bradley has moved. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Seconder is Councillor Lane. Councillors, could I see by a show of hands all of those who are in support of that motion? Obviously we have Councillor Bradley, Councillor Lane. Do I have, by a show of hands, those who are against the motion? And that is the remainder of the councillors. So we have the Mayor, we have Councillor Russell, Councillor Hall, Councillor Fraser, Councillor Bannon, Councillor Stemp, Councillor Wilcox, Councillor Murphy and Councillor Karansky. Do I have an alternate motion? Councillor Stemp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Due to this obviously time sensitive of this situation in relation to Lux, I would therefore like to request the report be deferred to the City Lifestyle Committee meeting dated the 10th of November in order to gain further clarity on some of the matters in the report which may impact the timeline of actions noted in the report.
And Councillor Stemp, have you actually forwarded that wording across to the Secretariat staff? So, councillors, I believe the motion's on the board in front of you. Could you please just read the motion? Councillor Stemp, would you be so kind as to just refer to the motion on the board and make sure that you're satisfied?
Happy with that?
So you move the motion on the board?
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you, Councillor Stemp. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Bannon. Could I please see by a show of hands all those who are in support of the motion? And that is unanimously supported. Thank you, councillors. I know that was quite challenging. That marks the end of the Sport, Leisure and Facility Managers report. Do we have any general business for Nigel? Nigel, do you have any GB for us? No general business at this stage. Thank you. I note that due to social distancing restrictions, not all managers or staff can attend today. But that being said, does anyone have any general business for the Director of Community Services? Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For a general business item, I'd just like to pay a vote of thanks to the Parks Department and the officers on the delivery of 2 parks in Division 12. Both Albert River Parklands and Noya Park have been well received by the community. I would also like to make special thanks to Jeff and the media team on the amazing coverage of these openings. I am extremely happy and proud to be the Divisional 12 councillor and to receive these parks. Thank you very much.
And Councillor Murphy, you should be very proud of your involvement in delivering this for your community also. Well done.
Thank
Do
you.
I have any other items of general business? There being no further items, I declare this meeting closed at 10:38 and we'll reconvene in about 10 minutes for our City Governance Committee. Thank you for your patience, everyone.